Joey G, are you there?
Hey, Mike.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a long time, man.
Oh, it's beautiful to see you. I love seeing the posts of you and your family. And I was just in Manhattan with some of the CSPs maybe 2 weeks ago. And I thought of the time that I went out to field visit you. For those of you that don't know Joey G, he puts a smile on my face. He's probably in top 10 people I've ever met. He's just an absolutely wonderful human being. And he's a vector legend and very successful in developing also a lot of CSPs as well. So I think he's one of the greatest rep productivities. I think it's just because of how he was as a person. And Mike Dowd reached out to him. Oops. Mike Dowd reached out to him, and thank you, Mike, for connecting us. Joey G was the manager in Manhattan when, I'll just say, the week of September 11th, 2001. And I'll let Joe maybe share some of the story behind it, but that week, Joey's office was the number one office in the company. And on top of that, hit President's Banquet, like any number of things that you can successfully accomplish as a manager in the midst of what I just saw something the other day about a high school that was down the street from not the Twin Towers, and how it just had such a lasting impact on people all throughout Manhattan. And, Mike reached out to Joe and said, Joey, thank you very much for making time, and I'll let you take it away, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's great to be back in the Cutco community. It's been too long. I forgot how great you guys were, or you guys are. So yeah, when Mike reached out, I'm a soon-to-be director of sales for a solar company. So we're dealing with some of the same challenges. We do in-home presentations. We have advisors who generate appointments for us in Costco and Home Depots and stuff like that. And so everybody's starting to freak out a bit. What I like is the maturity right now that I'm hearing is that, I know Mike mentioned there's going to be some anxiety in different spaces to go through, but what I'm seeing is more of a level-headed approach to it, saying, hey, this is the hand we've been dealt. We can either cry about it or we can figure out what action to take. And that's really what happened all those years ago in Manhattan when when we were attacked. Immediately there was a shock, and then there was what are we going to do? And then that started to kind of spread throughout the whole company. There were people in the middle of nowhere saying, well, what are we going to do? I'm like, well, what do you mean what we're going to do? Your city wasn't attacked. And I remember the team back then, we rallied around the idea we can make a difference for the rest of the company, because if we can sell in these circumstances, then it gives people the power and the confidence and the desire to want to sell elsewhere. So we almost put ourselves in a position of servitude to want to figure out solutions and get creative, because we could have easily just thrown in the towel and said, screw it. And I will tell you right now, I know you guys are focusing and you're saying positive things and all that. You're going to experience some times over the next couple of weeks where you're going to second guess your resolve and whether is it worth it for me to be this creative? Can I just kind of lay low for a while? And in that moment, you got to either you're going to let the fear overwhelm you and be inactive, or you're going to look at it as an opportunity to step up and be creative and find a way. With that team back then, a lot of it was faith driven. I was saying, hey, we believe that we can make this work. I was constantly painting the picture of it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Because if they perceived it as, or they assumed, or they predicted that, everything was going to end and we wouldn't be able to make money, it would become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And their inactivity, their lack of enthusiasm, lack of energy would have led to them being right and about this isn't going to work. And so I constantly had to create that or promote that, hey, this will work. I don't know exactly what the hell it's going to look like. I was being honest with them, vulnerable, and it's like, but we need to figure it out. I had people on the team, to Mike's point, we didn't really, back then it wasn't as big of a CSP program as now, but I had a lot of people in Manhattan that they were adults. So it wasn't your traditional student program like it was for many other organizations back then. And so I was like, well, if we don't dig our heels in and decide to make this work, people aren't going to be able to pay bills. Jeffrey Paul Boberick, and, that's just one name that comes up. I know he's still in the business, and a few others. So I remember us also connecting. So a big part of why we did well was that we took responsibility for being the team that's going to believe to everybody else. So I would ask that you guys do that, put yourself in that mindset and say, okay, I have an opportunity to make a difference for others. By figuring this out, by putting up a big sales number, it'll create a huge difference, and it'll give people that pep that they need or that wind in their sails to keep going. So basically a duty and obligation to figure it out. You guys as CSP leaders, there's going to be a lot of reps that are looking to you and seeing how you respond to these things. So I hope you don't think I'm being unfair putting that pressure on you. I think it could be of value if it causes you to, again, take some bold action and be creative and everything. The other thing we did was we were very authentic with customers. We leveled with them. We're like, hey, listen, we would tell them we're frightened of what's going on, but I can't be inactive anymore. We would tell them we need to make a living. This is keeping my mind off it. I remember we had a phone jam where we had to basically create a whole new phone approach because reps were worrying about offending customers or customers judging them. I go, if you focus on that, then you're not going to have the confidence and the energy to do it. If you just focus on interacting, engaging with people and letting them know the honest truth of what you're doing, you're going to find people are going to, be open to what you're doing. You're always going to get rejection, even if we weren't dealing with a crisis. So we just can't focus on that. It's going to stop us. So not every rep was willing to do it. And I focused on the people that were. I expect that the people on this call are the ones that are willing to, again, commit and figure it out and find a way. The more value I can promote, the better. Like myself and the other people that were involved in overcoming that kind of adversity back then, we still look back on it and draw strength from it. Like I know that I'm one that can figure it out and find a way to do well regardless of the circumstances. And so it's a very valuable opportunity. Sure, will our pay go down a little bit? I say we because I'm in direct sales still. Possibly, likely, but every hard-fought sale and every new technique that I develop now, it's going to create a ton of wealth for me moving forward. And all other challenges are going to seem nothing compared to, what we're dealing with right now, or we could deal with, if this becomes, as big as we think it's going to become. I would say.
Did we lose sound? Hey, Joe, I think we lost your sound for a minute. All right, there you go, I think.
I'm back?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not sure the last thing I heard or if I've been choppy this whole time, but so with virtual appointments, I'm not sure, do you guys still do things? Do you do that at all?
Well, that's one thing I wrote down that I'm sure a lot of people on this call probably have not done and probably are a little nervous about and apprehensive, but go for it, Mike or Joe. Yeah,
so we have sales reps right now in the solar industry that have never done phone consultations. So we're teaching them that technology. We have people that are really good at it. So in the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm going to document exactly what they do, their best practices. You guys are in such a great community of achievers and everybody, you could find an example of somebody who's really proficient at a particular skill or action that's going to come in handy right now. The key is to be able to emulate what they're doing right away, accelerate that learning curve. It doesn't take a long period of time to adopt the best practice since you guys have been so long, you have such a good foundation and you're like unconscious, competent at this position in selling Cutco. And so just, I would say, take a look at all those different things. If for me, again, in 24 hours, I would pinpoint all the people that are really good at virtual appointments or who are getting it done in the short term and say, what exactly are you doing? And have that, again, a sense of urgency to seek out those answers and seek out those solutions. And pretty much leave it at that. I love your disruption, innovation, and leave with this. You're going to be in a state of fear and anxiety, or you'll be in a state of self-empowerment and taking action. It's okay to go back and forth to spaces in both states. The key, though, is to step back and say, what really adds value here? And that's me taking action. I've been freaking out. I lost a ton of money in the market. I have an organization I'm fully responsible for. I have like 50 lives that are depending on me. And so I have my 3 little kids, my wife, So I easily step back and be like, what's the word? Just shut down with fear and just almost want to take a fetal position somewhere. But but if I sit back and I'm inactive, I have too much time to think about it. And fear, as we all know, is just assuming a negative outcome. It's predicting a negative future. And that gives us our feelings, our emotional state in the present. So if I assume this is going to suck and people are going to cancel on me, nobody's going to want to see me, and doomsday, my emotional state in the present is going to be really weak and insecure and all of that. And so I'd rather be focusing on and assuming it's going to go well and taking action. I think we all know that when we're taking action, like if I'm on a field playing a sport, I don't have time to sit back and think about whether I'm good at the sport or not.
Phenomenal. Joe, any questions for Joe? Joe, is that a boomerang behind you? Okay, gotcha. It's just the reflection of the. I was like, that's a really big boomerang with a blue tip at the end of it. But, it's not.
Oh yeah, my Australian roots.
Yes, exactly. I really love everything you had to say, Joe. So thanks on that. Anyone else? Joe, I know you, as you mentioned, you have 50 people that are relying on you at work and 4 at home. So we can let you head out. I appreciate your time a tremendous amount.
Thanks,
Anytime
guys.
I can repay a favor, let me know.
Yeah, no worries. All right, get it.
Thank you, Joe. That so that would be the transition. It's a nice transition, by the way. Mike, thank you so much for setting that up. Grant, you could probably unrecord if you want or hit pause. We're going to send that.